Everybody. Just referencing a video that some of you may have seen where I got hit with a wave in the ocean. And that was actually a pretty funny little microcosm of the incident, because I also lost my sunglasses that time. And I did unfortunately lose, but it's all right. That's why I don't buy expensive sunglasses, because I'm always losing them. I feel like I'm getting a new pair of sunglasses every single week. And I went to once the Ray-Ban store because I thought, well, I wonder if there's maybe something here. Maybe if you buy some things, if you spend more, they actually are worth it. And some things, if you spend money, they're not. And so life is all about trying to figure out which one of those things is the thing that you're thinking about. So I went to the Ray-Ban store. Shit! Fuck! I hate when I say brands. This is not... If I say a brand like that, I am giving $5,000 away for free. $5,000 worth of advertising. I'm gonna have to go in and bleep that, or I'll ask Eddie to do it. Eddie, make sure you bleep that. I went into a high-end sunglasses store in Pasadena. And I was asking the person, sort of some questions that was basically like, basically I asked, what's the difference between a polarized sunglasses you can get from a large online store that we all know? What's the difference between getting a cheap pair from there and getting a nice pair? What am I really paying for when I spend this money on this thing? And the lady, basically, I could tell within a couple of seconds, the answer was nothing. And she was just trying to somehow phrase that answer in a way that made it sound like that wasn't the answer. Because I used to work in the service industry. I used to work at a store that sold electronics. And I had no clue what I was talking about. I literally would just make stuff up to get the person to leave me alone. So I could tell, I know when somebody's bullshitting, because I'm the king of bullshitting. And don't ever tell, I'm the king of bullshitting. You probably saw the video of me, hey everybody, getting hit by the wave, and then also the one before that where I was lost at sea. And the reason I say you probably saw it is because they've both kind of been well, I mean, I guess you could say they're going viral. I don't know. I think I'm the one of me going like, hey everybody, is on TikTok. I'm pretty sure it's almost got a we're almost at 4 million views there. Instagram, I think that it's got 1 point something. YouTube, the long version has 100,000, but I'm predicting that that's going to go up pretty quickly. So not bad. I mean, to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping it would go a little bit more viral than it did, but that's okay. I know it's kind of a slow time of year, because I don't know this, that for some reason, notoriously in the influencer space, late summer, early winter is otherwise known as autumn, is always sort of the dead man's land, no man's land, for content. For some reason, I don't know if it's maybe everybody posting their pumpkin patch pictures and their vanilla spiced latte, pumpkin spiced latte, and so the feed's clogged up and we can't get through with our content. I don't know exactly what it is, but for some reason, ask any influencer, they'll tell you, oh yeah, that it's basically that's it. Every autumn it's basically 2008 for influencers. So, so I realized, because I was watching the video again this morning. I like to, with every video of mine, watch the video as many times as it has views. So for a video that has 3.8 million views, I've done that ever since, even before I was popular on social media. If 2 people liked my tweet, I would reread it twice and imagine it from that person's point of view and imagine them laughing at it. So now, because of the numbers that I pull these days, it's a lot more time consuming to do that, because I try to rewatch it. Luckily that video is only 7 seconds, so it's pretty easy, and I rewatch it over and over again. So I was rewatching it, and I was laughing because it's funny, and I realized, because I was scrolling through the comments and I was seeing a bunch of people say, like, oh, did he survive? Is he alive? And I just kind of laugh off a lot of those comments as people who are just idiots. But then I realized, oh my gosh, because the video cuts off in the water, so you don't really. If you look at my profile, there are videos after, so you can assume that I lived. But I realized I never really explained what. Oh God. I realized that I never really explained what had happened. And out of context, it's probably very mysterious. So I wanted to do that today and sort of just to let you all know I am okay. I'm out a pair of $10 sunglasses, but I am okay. Basically, I had a friend from college who was one of the biggest. Do you ever have those friends where you really, really don't like them? Everything they do is just like nails on a chalkboard, and you dread talking to them. You dread hanging out with them. And when you are talking to them or hanging out with them, you're just trying to make it be over, and then you're like, why the fuck am I even doing this? I hate this person. This person sucks. Everybody has friends like that, right? And so this guy was just one of those friends for me, and I really couldn't figure out, I don't really like anyone, to be honest with you, but there are some people that I just keep around, because if I don't talk to anyone, then I'm going to end up in a psych ward. So I sort of just have to endure it every once in a while, because human beings biologically require social interaction. So I just need to get my dose, It's sort of like taking an antidepressant, right? I don't like it. I don't dream of taking pills all day, but I just have to do it, and then I feel better. So that's sort of what being with other people is like for me. So he was one of those friends that, he would kind of just float in and out of my life. When we were in college, we had a lot more in common, and we both sort of, because I went to an art school, and he also went to an art school because we went to the same college. So we had a lot more in common at that point. And I've noticed that with a lot of friends in my life. You sort of go through life, and then 5-10 years later from when you met them, that if you just had met that person in the present moment, you'd be like, who the fuck is this asshole? I hate this person, But because you've known each other for a long time, you're expected to maintain the relationship. I personally think, and maybe I've discussed this in videos before, but I think that you should completely nuke your social life every 2 years. So every 2 years, whoosh, wipe clean. And get new friends. Get a new girlfriend, get a new boyfriend. Because after knowing somebody for 2 years, there's nothing else really to know. Once 2 years have gone by, they've told all the same funny stories, they've told all their little anecdotes, everything about their personality. And then it just gets stagnant. So you end up in sort of a phase of resentment after that because, I mean, then the novelty has worn off and they can be, discarded. It's sort of like chewing gum. If you chew gum for longer than it has flavor, it's disgusting. I mean, it's easy to forget. It's easy to just chew it just because you want to chew on something, but spit it out the window and get another piece of gum, and then you'll have the flavor back again. I mean, so I was sort of getting to the place with this guy that I knew I gotta spit the piece of gum out sooner or later, but then he got rich. So he started being because he got really into crypto, and he was one of the first guys to be into that stuff, and so he made a lot of money at first, and then that really, I never would have pegged him as that kind of. I mean, I have pegged him before, but I never pegged him psychologically as that. I guess I should explain the context of that. Basically, when you're in college, you're just, I mean, you're curious about things, and so anyway, oh man, that was some night. Jeez, sorry. Need my happy juice after that one. Life just has a way of so I never when we were in college, I did peg him, but I never pegged him in that sense as the guy who would be into crypto and bullshit. But I think what happened was he got into it so early. Sorry, happy juice sometimes makes me a little he got into I think he got into it before it became pretty widely known as a scam. I think at that time he was sort of in it in sort of more the what's that? What was the place called? The Onion, the dark net, Bitcoin. Back when that was still used for illegal things. I just remember it was so strange. We lived together, and he ran this whole shop out of this whole online shop out of his apartment. And he also had a separate, it was like he rented 2 apartments, and the other apartment he would get deliveries of illegal things and then sell them. And I tried to help him once, and I did this whole, I uploaded, it was like I had to send a photo of my ID to some Russian guy, and then that for some reason made it so that I could have Bitcoin. I really didn't, and I didn't like it when I did it. It felt very odd. So I was like, buddy, I don't even have regular money. I don't need to worry about this fake money now. So I let him have his fun, and I would sort of watch from the sidelines, but he had a lot more money than me. It was and that's always strange, and when you have friendships and you have sort of gaps in your financial ability, because he like I don't know. I mean, he used to always come home with these cool toys, and I'd be like, well, I guess I have $10, Oh my God. Sorry. I know people don't like that when I do that, but I can't stop my body from doing it. I'm sorry. So the best thing I can do now is just go off. Maybe Eddie, edit that out. Eddie's my editor. So, we had a financial gap. And it's been that way pretty much our whole relationship. I mean, I'm a little better off than I was in college, but really, the only thing that's changed is that somebody added a 0 to the end of all the numbers. I still deal with the same problems. It's just now all my, so, we, I moved out after college. Everybody sort of scattered around the country. And we would keep in touch here and there, but not, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't really, I think that I was in love with him for a brief period of time. I think so. And that's a very, very strange thing. It's hard to process those emotions. I consider myself a straight man, but there have absolutely been times when I have been in love with men. Absolutely. I've had sex with men, I mean, and that has nothing to do with it, whether or not your sexuality, that's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's a spectrum, So yeah, there's some, but I think that I tend to have kind of an avoidant personality, right? So I try to push those things off to the side here, So we would go through phases where we were talking a lot, and then it would sort of recede because one of us would be doing something, or one of us would get a girlfriend, or one of us would, so we would go through those moments, but then there would be those moments where we would come back together, so I guess I that sort of was always going on in the background, and really, when he started getting into crypto and he made a lot of money, he became very successful, and he moved to San Francisco. And he was always trying to get me to he was always telling me, come on up to San Francisco. And I hate San Francisco. It's cold, it's cloudy, it's miserable. I mean, I'll take San Francisco over any East Coast or Midwest city any day. But as far as West Coast and mountain cities, Rocky Mountain cities out west, as far as west of the Mississippi, I wouldn't say it even cracks the top 20. And I don't have any problem with homelessness or any of that. It's not about that for me. I don't care that it's dirty. I just don't like that it's cloudy. I don't like that it's, 60 degrees all the time. That's cold. I think I just witnessed a drug deal. I have to keep an eye on that one. Eddie, if his face was in the shot, post him on the Reddit. But so here's the thing. I didn't. Okay, so with, like, I have my 2-year rule with most of my friends, but because he was really rich, that sort of complicated things a little bit, because he could buy me things, and he had a nice place, and he, if I went up to visit him in San Francisco, I mean, if a friend asks me to visit, it's a totally different story if they want me to stay on their couch with their cats and their dog, in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. That's one, But if you're talking, hey, you can stay in my guest house and on the cliffs in Pacific Grove, then that's another story, So that was sort of the way that it was with him. He had this amazing house. I didn't really like it very much. It was sort of, it was like, I don't like when houses are glass like that. I feel like I'm in a fishbowl, I mean, if I'm jamming a cucumber in my ass. I don't want the whole town of San Francisco seeing it, even though they'd probably be lucky. So that sort of weirds me out sometimes. I do, though, like, being able to look out. What they should do, I wonder if they have this. If they invent a window that you can see out one side but not in. Eddie, write that down. I bet he is not going to. I bet you're going to be watching this video, and every single time that I tell Eddie to do something, he has not done it. Because, Eddie, I'm on to you, okay? I know that you just watch the video, and you do the transcript, and you control F, all the slurs, and then if you find anything, then you cut it out. But you need to watch the whole thing attentively, and you need to make decisions that are editorial. He just throws up the whole video, and then he waits to see if the comments bring up anything that could destroy my career, and then he'll go and have to fix it. Because he knows I'm not. I watch all of these every night if I film a new video. Every night when I go for a walk, I watch it back and I put in my ear holes, in my earbuds. I'm paying somebody to make my life harder. So anyway, he had a nice place in San Francisco, and he also, these douchebags, they're always like, oh, I'm gonna be in LA. I'm gonna be in LA for a week or whatever. They're like, oh, I gotta take care of some business down in LA. And I'm like, just say you're going on a trip like a normal person. You don't have to turn it into a whole thing. You're not Mark Cuban, or what's the guy who goes around all the time and does all this stuff? Will Sasso. No, he's the Mad TV comedian. Will Rogers? Who's the guy Warren Buffett? You're not Warren Buffett. But he likes to act like he's a baller. I remember once his girlfriend and him got in a big fight because he wanted to get a tattoo of the Monopoly Man with two Uzis, firing at the whatever. I don't remember exactly. He showed me a sketch, and it looked like something that was behind a dumpster in Cape May, New Jersey. I just pulled that town completely out of my ass. Oh, I have been there, because I went on the Cape May ferry. And I remember thinking, this is a shitty town. Okay, all right, okay. Eddie, keep that in. No, don't keep it in. Eddie, take that out. Okay, so and so his girlfriend and him were in a fight about the Uzis, because she said, what happens if capitalism falls apart, and then people see you're not gonna be able to get your tattoo removed, and then they're gonna when they eat the rich thing happens, people are gonna eat us or something. I don't know. His girlfriend's fucking weird. And I don't have any problem with her because of it's not something where I'm jealous. I don't like most people. So Monopoly Man Uzis, but he did end up getting that tattoo. So we used to always come down to LA, and with adult friendships like that, you can usually, because I don't want to see people when they come to town. I don't want, I got my own life. The reason why I'm friends with you is because you're far away, and I can sort of, just use you for all of the positives of friendship without having to deal with figuring out where we're going to go to dinner. What are we going to do between lunch and dinner when you come visit? I remember seeing an Onion article that was like, friend whose visiting friend in town, can't decide what to do between lunch and or something like that. It was a lot funnier that I said it. God, oh my God. Oh my God, that scared me. Guy came back walking in with a stroller and his kid, and he came like this, and it I don't know why that scared me. I'm sorry. I think it's because he came very close. Was that Tim Heidecker? Okay, sorry. I clearly need some more of this. Jesus Christ. So, he bought a boat in LA. Because we used to like to go. I really enjoy scuba diving, and I really enjoy snorkeling and all that sort of stuff. As a matter of fact, check it out. I got my wetsuit right here. You don't believe me? Wait a minute. I'm gonna get something for you, and I'll show you. Just wait 1 second. Oh, I needed my third one. Don't believe me? All right. Just 1 second. I'll show you. Oh, check it out. Check that out. Look, check that out. Check that out. I'm not lying. People always think that I'm making everything up, and I'm not. So he had a boat that was docked in Marina del Rey, and that's what I hate about rich people. He has this boat, and he bought it, and he took me on it the one weekend when he bought it. And we went out diving, out by Point Magoo. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it, but it was annoying because you have to drive. We had to drive to Marina del Rey to get on the boat, and we passed the place where we were gonna dive on the way to going to get the boat, but there's nowhere to dock your boat other than Marina del Rey around the LA metro area. If there is, I would love to know. I mean, I can't afford a boat, but one day if I ever get to have a boat, I would love to know, if anybody knows of any other marinas. So that boat is just sitting there months and months and months on end. He'll take it out once every couple of years, But what happened was he saw a couple weeks ago my Twitter breakdown. I had a breakdown on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and I went crazy. And it sort of spilled over onto YouTube as well, And he saw that, and he he was very concerned. And he reached out to me and said, "Hey, pal, is everything okay?" And my friends, the people who know me in real life, have gotten pretty good at they, because I mean, I just post all sorts of crazy bullshit that they usually don't ask. They know better than to ask. But this time, I guess it seemed more real or whatever, Really, what did it was the picture of the pills. I posted a picture of some pills. And pills that I've had a little bit of a problem with in the past. Zan Henschel. That's what they used to call me. Zan Henschel. So he was all worried about that, and I said, no, it's fine, it's a joke. And it was funny because I was texting him and saying, no, don't worry, it's just a joke, it's a bit. And then I would go and post online, it's not a bit, I need help, I'm not joking, at the same time, which I thought was funny. I really get a kick out of myself. So he had the boat in Santa fucking bullshit, what the hell is it called? Marina del Rey. And, he said when I had my breakdown, which wasn't real, by the way. It wasn't real. He said, I'm gonna be in LA taking care of some things, and I was like, what are you taking care of? Going to Egg Slut? That's the business you got to take care of? Egg Slut is a restaurant in Los Angeles. So he said, I'm coming down to LA. I know you just had a breakdown and you're really not doing good. And I said, no, I'm doing fine. That was a joke. But of course he didn't believe me. So he said, you know what? Why don't we, tell you what, we haven't gone out on the boat in a long time. I'm going to take you out on the boat. And it'll be great. And I said, well, I sure hope it'll be great. I will have to keep, let's keep an eye on the weather, because the problem with the Pacific Ocean is that it's cold as fucking shit, So if the sun is out, it's beautiful and perfect. But if it's cloudy, it is freezing and miserable out on the ocean. And it's windy. So I was telling him, we'll have to see, if the weather, it'll be weather dependent, whether or not we go. And he said, yeah, sure, whatever. And I consider myself sort of an amateur weatherist. So I love looking at the weather, and I said, just leave that to me. So we planned 3 different possible days to go on this boating trip, because I want to go on a boat. I like boats, but I can't afford a boat, And I said, hey, if you take me out on your boat, I'll suck your cock. I didn't say that. And that didn't happen. Eddie. Cut that out, is what that meant. So he came down, we went on the boat. We drove down to, and it ended up being, it was the worst possible case scenario, because it was sunny by my apartment, but it was cloudy in Marina del Rey. Sometimes that happens. That's been happening a lot this fall, because, the marine layer, which many of you, I think, have heard me talk about in the past, sometimes what'll happen is it'll be cloudy just at the beach, but it's sunny and 90 degrees inland in northeast LA where I live. So here I was thinking, it's going to be great. It's perfect. It's sunny, blah, blah, blah. I drive an hour over across town, meet him at the marina, and of course it's cloudy and disgusting, and it looks like we're in Dublin. So I was kind of saying, and when I met up with him, I was like, oh man, so maybe we should do this another day. And he said, no, it'll be fine. I think, they said, and people, even people who have lived here, they say, oh, well, on the weather app, it said sunny today. And I always have to be like, no. You don't understand what the fuck you're talking about, because yeah, it says that, but it's not. That doesn't mean that it's going to be sunny out, because of the way that the marine layer works. They're saying sun, a mix of sun and clouds, because they don't know if the marine layer is going to clear or not. And you have no clue what you're talking about. But you can't convince them, because once you start getting into all this, marine layer, inversion layer, then they just think you're some autistic loser. And so they say, well, my weather app said sunny. So anyway, I was trying to explain all this to him, but there was no getting out of it, because he was only gonna be in town for a couple days, and normally I would have canceled, but I'm not sure if I should talk about this or not. Okay, never mind. Basically, I could not. We had an arrangement. That'll be a story for another day. So I was I was at the marina, and I was walking down the pier. He said, I'm going to go to the bathroom or something. But feel free to go to, his boat. I forget what he called it. He called it some stupid name that was in Latin. And I don't speak Latin. Nobody speaks Latin. So it was called like summa cum laude or something. And I asked him, what the hell does this mean? And he said, it means, live long and I don't know. One of his stupid tech bro things. So I noticed, and I keep going back and forth in my head about whether or not I should have brought this up. I noticed the boat had a hole in it. It was sort of very large, and it was right above where the water was. The water was sort of lapping up and kind of entering the hole. But I don't know anything about boats, and I don't know anything about sailing. So I was like, he thinks that he's so much smarter than me because I'm sort of a type B personality. I'm sort of cluttered and all over the place. And so there's sort of this undercurrent that I'm an idiot and he knows everything. And so he's very condescending to me. And I feel like I'm always, I always bring stuff up, and he will say, you're an idiot. This is actually the way that this works. Classic Dan, classic stupid Dan. He's a moron, and he's helpless, and he doesn't know, anything. So I could envision in my head that I was like, hey, I think there's a hole in your boat. And he would laugh at me and be like, oh yeah, that's the boat hole. That's supposed to be there, dumbass. As if that's the most obvious thing in the world, And it really bothers me when he does that. So I figured, I didn't want to, I'm not trying to get made a fool of myself. So I figured, well, I don't know anything about boats. So surely, because he knows about boats, if there was a hole in his boat that would be large enough to cause concern, surely he would notice it because it's his boat, right? So I might as well not say anything, because either it's supposed to be there and I don't know what I'm talking about, or it's not supposed to be there and it's a huge problem and he'll notice it. And sure enough, when he came back, we stepped on the boat and he didn't say anything. So I said, well, all right, I guess that's just the boat hole, So he was sort of he was kind of struggling with untying the thing from the moor or whatever the hell it is. And I remember sort of being like, hey, do you need help with that? And he was like, no, I'm good. I got it. Again, laughed at me like I'm stupid, but I'm pretty sure that he didn't know what the hell he was doing, and he was just pretending to know what he was doing. So he untied the boat, and he says like, all chips ahoy, or whatever, like we're ready to go. Turns on the motor. We go about 2 feet, and then All of a sudden, the boat starts going down into the ocean and sinking. And it was very, very fast. I was shocked by how fast it was. Because it was like we literally were on the boat. We were maybe 5 minutes. We had only gone, I think in a past video I said, we had only gone a couple feet. And it was true. Immediately, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, before I even know what's going on. Because remember, I don't go on boats that much. I mean, I've gone with him a couple of times, but for the first couple of seconds, it was like, whoa, like going like this. And I remember him in the boat captain's house being like, whoa, it's rough seas today or something. And then all of a sudden there was like, and we were in a 90-degree angle and the boat was halfway underwater. And so the boat's sinking and I got thrown off of the boat. Luckily, I had been wearing a life jacket because I have one in my car. So I brought one with, and I bet you don't believe me. Fuck! It's in my apartment. Fuck! I have a life jacket. And it saved my life today. That day. Maybe it'll save my life today. I don't know. But yeah, he died because he couldn't get out of the captain's house, whatever the hell it was called, And it was quite scary because it was like I got thrown off the boat. I cannot emphasize to you, look up videos of boats sinking. It happens very fast. Once you realize that the boat is sinking, it's done. It's done. So the boat was basically completely underwater, and it went like boom. And I'm floating in the marina with my life jacket, and I had sort of been panicking so much that I don't want to say I wasn't thinking about him, but I figured because he's on boats a lot and he knows all this stuff. He wouldn't have a boat if he didn't know what the hell he was doing. So I figured, he's fine. He's taking care of himself, And then by the time I realized, like, oh, I'm okay, I was worried about the boat pulling me under with the vortex. So I was like kicking my legs and trying to get doggy paddle away from the boat. And unfortunately, that made me go further away from the marina, which caused the problem that I'm going to get into in a couple seconds. So by the time I realized that I was going to be okay, he was not there. And so I thought, I still didn't really think anything was wrong because we were so close to the marina. I thought, well, maybe he probably really quickly jumped off the boat and ran down the dock and went to get help. That's probably where he is right now. So he's probably fine. Now, the big problem. I had doggy paddled away from the marina, and now I'm drifting out into the ocean. And that was something else that happened very quickly too. For some reason, water is completely different than land. It's a completely different set of physics. It's a completely different set of rules. So I was sort of surprised at, I was trying to do all the things that I would normally do on land, and they weren't working. And you go through life sort of figuring out how to walk and do things physically on land. So then once you're in the water and they don't work, then you sort of panic and you don't really know what to do. So I realized that I was drifting farther and farther away from the dock, and the ocean, or the current, was taking me out to the ocean. Basically, the marina is in a little thing. It's like in a little thing like this. And then it pokes out, and then it's just the ocean. So I was drifting past, and I could see, nobody else had seen. It was very early in the morning, so nobody else had seen the boat sink. And remember, I thought that he had gone to get help. So I was thinking, well, I don't really have to worry about anything. I'm just going to sit here and wait for somebody to help me, because he's probably ran and they're going to come and then they'll get the helicopter or whatever they do. So I've seen it, and every single thing that I've ever seen about the ocean, they say don't panic. Don't try to swim against the current, because then you're going to exhaust yourself and drown. So I've talked to a couple people who know about the ocean, and they tell me that I did exactly the right thing in this situation, because I just sat there. I didn't do anything. And I was in my life jacket, and I let thankfully the water itself was still warm enough that it was not cold, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is it was cold, but it wasn't cold enough to be dangerous. It was like 68 or something. So it's kind of refreshing. I was thinking that day I'd probably go in the water anyway later. So I thought, well, okay, I'll just sit here, and he's probably running to go get help. And then I'll drift over, maybe I'll drift over to Will Rogers or something, and then I can just kick my way onto the beach, and then I can make a beach day out of it, get a martini. So a couple hours went by where I was sitting in the ocean. And this was the moment when I pulled my phone out to take the first video, which was me saying, hey, see that boat over there? I don't either. I thought that was pretty funny, and people said, well, why didn't you call for help and or anything like that if you composed a video? Remember, I thought that my friend had gone to get help. And also, something you have to understand about a crisis situation is you can say in your head, oh, this is what I would do. I would do all of this, and then I would know what to do. But you wouldn't. You don't know what you're going to do in that situation. There's no right or wrong thing to do. And so I was, all right. And I will admit there may have been a little bit of spitefulness because, like I said, my friend has always thought I was an idiot. For so long, he's lorded that over me and acted like he's so great and always been so condescending. So I figured, well, he knows what to do. Apparently, right? He always knows what to do. He's always Mr. Knows Everything, right? So I'm sure he doesn't want Mr. Idiot Dan to make things worse for him, right? So I'm just going to not do anything the way that he so clearly wants all the time. So I figured I'll just let him handle this because that's always what he wants to do anyway. And also simultaneously, I'm going to get some content because this is amazeballs content, Whenever I'm in that kind of situation, because I've been an influencer for so long, I've sort of allowed myself I've trained my brain to immediately to pull out my phone and start filming, because for a long time I really suffered because if you guys remember with the police thing, I was so in torment over the fact that I hadn't remembered to pull my phone out and film it because I was in a life or death situation and my phone was only the top, number 3 on my list of priorities. But now the phone is number 1. Well, I guess it's number 2 because I wish I had got a video of the boat sinking. That would have been awesome. I think I was lying awake last night thinking, damn. Imagine how viral that could have gone. A boat sinking in the ocean with my face being like, doing like Jim Halpert in The Office. That would have been so funny. But it's okay. I still got the 2 video. I still got the wave video. So anyway, this story's kind of been going on for too long. Nothing else really happened besides me floating in the ocean and getting cold. And then eventually the second video of me getting hit by the wave was because I had drifted back to the beach, because Marina Del Rey goes out here to the beach, and so the current sort of took me. I mean, it wasn't really that climactic of a story. The waves carried me back to the beach, and then the most dangerous part was when I got to the beach, because like you saw in that video, when you have a life jacket on, you can't dive under the waves or anything. You can't, you've just got you're just a bobbing along with whatever the ocean wants to do to you. So when the part where I almost drowned was at the end when I was supposed to be safe And you saw all of that on film. But I was okay. I only really, I had to go to the police station to do an incident report, and it was only then that I found out that he had not made it. But oh well. I mean, it sucks, but now I got a friend. Now I got to find a friend with another boat. All right. Well, yeah. I still like the ocean. I still like boats. And the good news is, that this whole ordeal showed me once and for all that I did not love him, and I didn't really care about him very much. And the peace of mind of knowing that was worth the trauma. Sometimes in life, you've got to just go through hardship to discover a truth about yourself that was previously holding you back. I'm not that religious, but I do believe that sometimes life puts you through what you're supposed to be going through. I was just telling a homeless guy this the other day. You are exactly where you need to be right now. For some reason, this is what has to be happening to you because of the success the success you will have in the future will happen because of this. Right? And I think that really cheered him up. I mean, I couldn't really tell, he seemed like he was unconscious, but I think he heard me, So, all right. Hope you have a great weekend. I keep thinking it's Sunday, and it's not. It's Saturday. So we still have another day of weekend. Woo! All right. Bye-bye.